episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on November the 6th, 2018. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me, as always, in the middle of an existential crisis...
Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we have played this week. Blizzard is booed at BlizzCon over its mobile Diablo announcement. Fallout 76 faces technical woes. PS4 share will be blocked in the second half of Catherine Full Body Story Mode. We'll have our weekly community corner and a Steam Discovery queue. Timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. Hello, Rage.
Hello.
Did you do your civic duty today?
Very early in the morning, got up, had my coffee, then did my civic duty. Then I went and voted.
But
yeah, it's election day in the U.S., so one of us voted early, and one of us voted often. Oh, wait, no, That's not how it works.
Yep, I voted, 2 weeks ago now? I voted on October 20th when early voting opened in my state.
Yeah, well, I couldn't get
almost 3 weeks ago.
Well, I couldn't get to an early voting site, and I didn't really bother trying to get the absentee ballot because, here's the thing, is that in order to walk to the post office, I would actually be walking past where the voting station is. So, it kind of defeats the purpose, right?
Right.
So I went and voted today, and it was rather inclement weather for voting because, it was raining. Yeah, even though, it was very pretty out when it stopped raining. I actually tweeted out a pair of pictures that I think you may enjoy. I gave you a CR, by the way, on the Twitter thing.
Yeah, I saw those pictures earlier. I don't remember if I liked them or not.
You didn't.
Okay.
At least I didn't see a like on them, but the duality of my town, huh?
Yeah, that really nice picture, and then an empty shop window.
Yeah, empty, dirty shop window that's been there for at least a few years now, with essentially a going out of business sale sign in it still that's fallen out.
Right. Yeah.
It was very artistic, I think.
Yeah. I saw another tweet too that was like, does it count if you didn't get a sticker that said you voted or something like that?
Yeah, did that as well. Because my polling place doesn't give out stickers, so that makes me question the legitimacy of my vote because I can't share it on social media, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have a voting story on top of all of this. So
right, that's kind of why I immediately went with the civic duty because after it stopped raining here, mid-morning or so, I walked down to my polling place and cast my vote. And I thought, it's a fairly nice day. I'll go out for an extended hobble because there was a few people there, but there was enough, that everybody was, kind of crowded in and just sitting down waiting for their turn. There was only 2 voting stations, and it was mid-morning, and I was in the low 30s for my ballot count. So that should give you an idea of the voter turnout in my town, right? Right. Well, your town is very small.
Yeah, my town is, between 700 and 800, I think, on the last census. So, yeah. But still, 30-ish people with a good chunk of the day already gone, even with rain. That says something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, fairly nice day. Nice autumn day, a little crisp air, and I thought, I'll hobble down to the thrift store and look for neat junk because every time I've gone there, it's been closed. They don't have posted hours, and it's open at somewhat random times. I have no idea how that business stays open, but hey, it's open. But then again, it is a thrift store, so a lot of donations, right? Low overhead.
Yeah, probably.
And it's also on the other end of town, so it's a bit of a hobble for me. And I was also wanting to kill a bit of time to grab a pizza on the way back. Well, the thrift store was closed, as per usual. I did peek in, and it looked like it was stocked, so, I assume it's open at different times. So I'm on my way back. I cross the street, get about a quarter way down the block, and I hear someone yell at me. Or, it's one of those things, it's a little hard to tell if somebody's yelling at you or yelling in the phone or something,
Right.
So I stop, turn around, and see a guy in a car, waving at me. Don't know him. And he's pulling out and asking, do you know where Ruth lives? Who? I don't know a Ruth.
Okay.
I guess, this guy figures, small town, everybody knows everybody automatically, right?
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that I don't live in that portion of town. But anyway, as he's pulling out, this is a gentleman and about his, I would say, mid to late 60s at minimum.
Okay.
He cuts the corner and, well, there's a pole there. And
nice.
No, it gets better. He didn't ram the pole. He sideswiped it. And he has the passenger side window open to yell at me. And he says, "Do you hear something?" And I said, "You're hitting the pole." And he said, "What pole?" And he pulls forward. It continues to scrape this pole down the side of his car. It catches on the bumper and starts to rip the bumper off. And I'm yelling at him to stop. And by the time he stops, the bumper, the side of the, how the bumper wraps around, it is peeled away and peeling back, and the post is actually past the quarter panel. Is that the correct panel? The rear there?
The rear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The rear passenger side quarter panel. And, the bumper's hanging on for dear life. Scrapes all down the side of his car. And I'm saying, "You're caught on a pole." And he said, "What pole?" again. And it looked like he was about to pull forward again. And I'm waving at him to stop. And finally he stops, and because the car, I guess, just doesn't have the pickup whenever, it's hooked on something. He gets out and says, "Oh, God damn it."
Oh, that poor guy.
And he blames the pole because it's not tall enough. Never mind the fact that he cut the corner, and this little pole is, I would say, a good foot onto the sidewalk, and it's meant to block for the utility pole that's there.
Yeah.
And I don't say anything. I'm just saying there, and I'm watching the show at this point. All right.
Right.
So he says, "How the hell did I get off this?" And I say, "Just back up into the street, or back up where you came, and then pull around without cutting the corner." Trying not to sound too much like I'm blaming him, but the pole didn't jump out in front of him, right?
No, dude cut the corner. That's totally on him.
Yeah, I'll have to show you the corner later, because I'm pretty sure that pole is in, or it's not really a pole. It's like a post, like a little I-beam that's painted bright yellow, so it's very camouflaged.
Right. They're totally hiding it there.
Yeah, practically invisible. But anyway, and he's going on and on about his cousin, I think it is, that's supposed to live in the area, talking about how she had a stroke, and because she isn't able to move around that much, she's getting fat, and just casual misogyny the entire time. And I'm thinking, wow, it's like you belong in a museum or something,
It belongs in a museum.
And definitely not on the road. So he eventually was able to halfway pop his bumper back on, because his car was a rusted out mess. The quarter panel had a rust spot on the size of my fist, right? I would say at the 9 o'clock position on the wheel well, where the bumper actually starts to connect. So part of me thinks that bumper was about to come off anyway, or start to.
Yeah. That's funny.
And I'm not about to touch his car because, he's already, made quite the mark on it. I'm not about to add to it. Right?
Yeah, or get accused of something. Mm-hmm. Well, or you touch my car. Well,
I mean, he had a scrape. This was a 4-door. From the passenger door all the way down to the bumper. I mean, if it was the Titanic, it would have been on the bottom of the ocean,
Yeah.
And dents all along, and I'm just thinking, wow, that's going to cost a bit to repair. But then I saw the rust bonds on. Oh, that's not getting repaired.
Yeah, he's not going to fix it.
And he's talking about, I'll just put some Bondo on and pop it. Those dents will pop right out. They'll fill it in, put a little silver paint on it. It'd be good as new. I'm thinking, that rust bucket hasn't been good as new in at least 2 decades. Granted, I don't know cars, so I can't, say the actual model or year on it. But, you can tell, older cars, wow, that makes me feel old. Older cars, like the 90s models.
I mean, 90s models cars are between 20 and 30 years old at this point.
Fuck, I'm old. It looked like it hadn't got maintenance on it. As a matter of fact, I thought at first he was running the spare because one of his wheels was black. But no, it was just the rim has lost all its paint and all, in all the years,
Yeah.
Which also doesn't bode well for maintenance on that car, right?
No, it does not.
Oh, but yeah. It seems like whenever I go out, I usually have some sort of interesting story, doesn't it?
Usually. All right. Well,
but that's my voting story. Outside of that, it threatened to rain, so I didn't get the pizza I was planning on. And the thrift store was closed, so I didn't get to. Well, I didn't get to look as much neat junk as I had hoped. I did hit the Ye Old Christian Bookshop, which actually is technically partial thrift store as well. They had a bunch of frying pans in there that I'm pretty sure at one point were nonstick, but now they're pressed metal. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was like something like 5 or 6 pans for $7, but all of them had severe wear, as in heavy abuse. It was even worth it to get the griddle. So but it's just I like looking at neat junk. You never know what you're going to find, and it's also a little odd to find like a copy of Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a Christian bookstore. Considering that movie, right? And some of the undertones.
Yeah.
I did see one other book there that amused me, in probably the wrong, darkest way. I was just looking at their new Christian books, and one of them was Aunt Lucy Has Cancer. It was one of those things,
okay.
I was just skimming over the titles and stopped, went back and thought, I misread. No, right there it is.
Yeah, that bitch Aunt Lucy got cancer.
Because she doesn't love God.
That's right.
Actually, I didn't thumb through it. I was pretty much just... I was honestly in there waiting for the rain to slack up. Because I didn't grab my poncho on the way out the door. I should have, but I didn't. But yeah, that's my voting misadventure.
Fancy. So why don't you tell me about misadventures with games you played this week? Or good adventures?
I would say it's a good adventure. I ended up resetting my phone over the weekend. So I didn't get a lot of time to play games because, I had something in the background of my phone that was eating up battery like a fat kid eats Doritos.
All right.
I mean, I would unplug my phone and, set it down on the desk, hobble away, come back, 15, 20 minutes later, and I was down 10, 15% battery. Not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
So I did a factory reset, and I've been reloading my phone, so that cut into my game time. But thankfully, it didn't wipe the mobile game I was playing, or I should say the progress, because, Google Play Cloud, right? Or whatever the hell they call it. I was playing Monument Valley 2. I do the surveys on Google Play and build up a little bit of credit there, and they had a thing where it was a buck off any app that was over 4. And Monument Valley is normally $4.99, so it brought it down to $3.99. I thought, that'll be good for a little misadventure. And it's not a bad game. I mean, I pretty much knew going in that I was going to like it to at least some degree. It's a continuation of the original Monument Valley, where the character Ro is going in and restoring the monuments of the sacred geometry. Only this time she's bringing her daughter, into the mix and introducing her to the world of Monument Valley. And it has a lot more story than I think I grasped in the first game. This one is more about a mother learning to let go of her child and let her child grow on her own. And honestly, it kind of caught me off guard that had an actual story in it. I know Monument Valley had a story as well, a theme of restoration, but this had a more concrete story, I guess it would be, because at one point it diverges. You literally put your child into a sailboat, and she sails away to go on her own adventure to learn and to be able to manipulate the valley and to restore it on her own. And several levels after that is her dealing with her grief and her loss of, her separation. And it really caught me off guard. It's, like the first game, it is a very beautiful game. It's a very compelling game. I believe I talked about in the first game how it feels like it makes use of touchscreen a lot better than most mobile games I've played, because it feels a lot more tactile, where everything is all the, flick and spin and drag, and it feels a lot better than I think it would have on PC. Which I realize that sounds weird coming from me, right?
Yes, guess it does, but that's okay.
But this game also continues that feel where it has that tactile feel, but it doesn't feel as, it feels, I think the best analogy I could give for this is Portal 2 syndrome, where the original Portal is considered groundbreaking. And yes, Portal 2 surpasses it in pretty much every way conceivable, but it also is something we've seen before, so it's not as awe-inspiring, Yeah. It's the same problem here, where Monument Valley 2, it introduces a lot more puzzle mechanics, but because I've played the original Monument Valley, granted it's been a while, it feels a lot more familiar, and because of that, it's not as eye-catching to me as the original was. And it's actually a lot easier than the original was, because I already have my mind to be able to work these geometry. And for those who haven't played it, Monument Valley is essentially Escher gone mad, where it's all about your perspective. It's not about the actual world geometry. So the game usually has between 2 and 4 positions well, it also depends on the level, because the different levels have essentially many sets of rules. There's always the overarching set of rules where if it looks like 2 platforms match up where the character can walk across them, she can. Even if logically, if you're looking at that in a 3-dimensional space instead of the 2-dimensional point of view that the character is looking at it from, they would be far apart. That's always the basic ground rule. And the character is also able to walk along the same plane or climb ladders along the same plane, even if the plane curves. So if you're like standing on the side of an arch, you can walk up along the top of the arch and down the other side. And also, if the plane twists, like if there's a twist in that support beam, the character will follow that one plane that she's on. Those are the basic ground rules, but then they change a little bit from level to level. Sometimes you're allowed to manipulate the level parts while the character is standing on them. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes the level twists. Sometimes it's pieces of the level that twist. But they also add in a few more elements. There's a portal-like mechanic where different doors allow you to teleport between different portions of the level pretty much at will. And sometimes one of the doors is mobile on a movable piece that you can manipulate. There's a growing mechanic where at one point you're able to grow and ungrow trees. And if you're standing on the tree, as the tree germinates and twists around, that could also change how things work. But it's the same basic mechanics overall. And that's why it has that kind of familiar feel to it in both the positive and negative light. And I don't want to get too much into the story. I mean, I pretty much gave a fair chunk of it away, but I haven't given the ending away. It is a fairly short game, but it's also a mobile title. And, it's, $4, so it's not that expensive. And I think it's all about the journey in this. It's not a very difficult game. I only really struggled once, and that was just because I didn't get the level quirk. There were times that I struggled because the controls, it's a very small set of areas that you could tap onto and the character would move to. And sometimes the game would get a little confused on those, and sometimes manipulating the things that if you move too fast. There's no timed puzzles in this game, at least as far as I was able to tell. But if you move too fast, sometimes the game got a little confused, so, just slow down, veg out. It suggests wearing headphones, and I strongly recommend that because the soundtrack is fucking amazing. I think this would be a game you would appreciate a lot more just because of the parental journey, or the parental subplot than I would. Particularly Katie. I think this would have Katie in tears.
It would probably have me in tears too if that's the case. Then,
there's a particular section that focuses on postpartum depression, as far as I can tell, or a form of it.
Yeah, maybe I should play this. I played some of the original Monument Valley, and I was like, this is okay.
This, number 2
really
has a lot stronger emphasis on story. As a matter of fact, every level, it gives a bit of lore to the story as well. And it also gives a lot more backstory to what the Monument Valley actually is. So, I would say it's very Portal 2-esque. It's a good analogy there where, it's superior, but because it's familiar, it doesn't feel as special. Any questions?
I don't think so. I mean, it's roughly the same as the original Monument Valley in terms of gameplay, with an additional focus on story.
Well, not quite.
There's
additional there's additional puzzle elements in some levels, but it's the main thing is still manipulating the geometry of the game environment. And for those who haven't played Monument Valley, it's it's a mind trip first time you mess with it. In a good way, I should say.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Do you want to do Dreadnought, or do you want me to do one first to give you a little break, and then we'll swing back around?
You could do another one. You could do a different one and give me a little bit of a break since voice is feeling a little rough. So I'm going to have a cough drop while you chatter away about things.
Gotcha. So, recently, as I mentioned, I believe it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, have been playing some of the original Dark Souls, going through with Kyle, playing that. And I own both Dark Souls 2 and 3. I've heard from everyone, basically just avoid Dark Souls 2. It's garbage, and in many ways worse than the original.
So instead of playing Dark Souls, avoid Darker Souls and play Darkest?
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, so that's what I heard about Dark Souls 2, so I just avoided it and skipped straight over to Dark Souls 3. I've just been looking for new games to try. Like, I've got, this massive library of games. I'm looking for some different, just going back and either playing some things I haven't played in a long time and seeing if my sort of change in style of gamer and things makes me more interested in these older games, or games that I've never actually played but that I own. And I figured with playing the original Dark Souls, or I guess Dark Souls Remastered, along with The Surge before, maybe now was a good time for me to try one of the other Dark Souls games. And boy, is Dark Souls 3 a better game than Dark Souls 1. I mean, I know, shocker, right?
If you listen closely, you can hear Kyle.
I mean, it's basically the same game. I'm sure that there are many nuanced differences between the two of them, but to me, as someone who's relatively uninitiated in the genre, it's basically a less clunky, better running, less complicated version of Dark Souls. Instead of like feeling like you're, like a really fat, clumsy, awkward person like wobbling around.
Also role playing.
Yeah. Instead of feeling like you're actually me playing, trying to fight somebody, it feels actually like a game with responsive controls. But I mean, it keeps the the general Dark Souls aesthetic, the general Dark Souls combat style. Do you emphasize on blocking and parrying and that sort of thing, or dodging? It's got sort of you set your own difficulty based on the type of character class that you play. I went Pyromancer again just because that's the only one I'm really familiar with from the first one, and it's basically the same thing. Instead of having a limited number of uses to your spells, now you have like a magic or a mana bar that allows you to cast spells from, and you can refill it without having to go back to a bonfire. So that's nice. I don't know if there's other ways to refill it, but you have now like a magic Estus flask that refills your mana bar instead of your health. So I chuck fireballs at things and roll out of the way a lot. I really wish Dark Souls had like an easy mode or a story mode or something, because playing Dark Souls Remastered and now also playing Dark Souls 3, like, that game is gorgeous in this very interesting sort of gothic, dark style, and there's some really fancy, interesting fantasy, dark fantasy lore in there that I probably will never see, because I'm not great at this game. It took me like 2 hours to get past the first area with the first boss. There's like an optional boss you can fight for like a bonus item, and there's no way to level up until after you beat the first boss and unlock sort of the main hub area. So I just like spent 2 hours is maybe a little too much, but more like an hour or so, like banging my head against the metaphorical wall, as it were, before I looked up like, how do you beat the first boss? Because I had learned his pattern, but I kept getting killed. He's got like 2 phases. You fight this boss for a little bit, and then he transforms into a giant monster with like goo arms that just like flattens you in 1 or 2 hits. And so everyone like online is like, just stay to his right, and then when he transforms, stay to his left. And that's how I did it. Just keep dodging to the right until I got past phase 1, and then keep dodging to the left until I got past phase 2. And then I moved on. And I've played it a little bit farther since then. I recognize some of the characters from Dark Souls 1, so I guess they make it. So, spoilers, I guess. And then I've played a little bit past that. Got to like the second area, which I don't know what it's called. And then it's like, oh, this isn't so bad. Just taking it slow. No more boss guys. And then it's like this giant dragon comes down and like barbecues everyone. And I'm like, nope. Just run away. And then I was like, okay, that's enough for one day. I'm just going to put this down now. After the dragon barbecued me. Because I'm like, okay, I have to go out there. The dragon's not going away. Obviously, this is like me going out here triggered this. I'm going to have to get past it. So I tried to just run past it, and there was another guy there who I didn't see as I was sprinting away from the dragonfire. And he murderized me quite hardcore.
It sounds like me after beating a boss in Cuphead, which I did play a little bit, but not enough to talk about.
Right. So yeah, I mean, Dark Souls 3, it's basically Dark Souls 1, except better, because it controls better and it looks better, and it runs better.
Now the question
has better frame rate.
Does the clunkiness of Dark Souls 1 make the game for Kyle? Is that, the clunkiness make Dark Souls, or did they streamline it to the point where it's no longer Dark Souls and it's the Surge?
I don't know. I
no, that's a legitimate question,
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Like, I'm sure that I wouldn't even have to scour. I'm sure I could go find a ton of like top level discussions, like which one's better, Dark Souls 1 or 3, because Dark Souls 1 is like slower and more clunky and like that makes it more difficult, or Dark Souls 3 because it's more streamlined. I don't personally feel like Dark Souls 3 is like easy and simplified, but who knows, like maybe hardcore fans of the series can tell. I wish it had an easy mode where that everything was basically a one-hit kill, and you could just wander around and explore things and get the story given to you. Maybe there's a mod that does that. I should look into that. That would make me want to play Dark Souls even more. If I could just wander around, marvel at the gorgeous, deep world they've put together, and look really cool. Like, that's all I want. I'm down for that. So yeah, Dark Souls 3. It's Dark Souls, but better.
But darker. And soulsier.
Not really. It also recognized my controller, and I didn't have to spend 16 days of my life trying to get it to recognize my controller and use it properly.
So recognize?
It recognize. It respect. Taking a quick sip of some Diet Coke there. But I guess if you want, we can do Dreadnought now.
All right, we can do Dreadnought. So I drug you into space, mostly because I mentioned World of Warship's spaceships, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had sort of like had my eye on Dreadnought for a while, and then I forgot about it, and then you brought it up and mentioned. I'm like, oh yeah, Dreadnought. I should play
that was a thing.
So yeah, we played it. I played it for the first time, and then you continued to play it. We played it together. I like Dreadnought a decent amount. It's like, if I was going to give it like a letter grade, it would be like a solid B. Like, pretty decent.
So you're saying...
Plenty of room for improvement.
So you're saying it's clumsy and awkward like Dark Souls.
I don't think so. The biggest, like, most awkward part of it is that they copied lots of things in the way it handles from World of Warships, but they didn't copy the superior control method of World of Warships, because I mean, these are all capital ships. The Corvette is the smallest, and it handles like a really large fighter or maybe like a gunship. Mm-hmm. But all of the other ships are destroyer and cruiser and Dreadnought.
I mean, some of the destroyers look like they're kind of out of Star Wars with extra bits glued on, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, World of Warships has this thing where you just like set your speed, and then you can turn manually, or you can set a rudder so that you can turn at different. And like, you just don't have to worry about that. Like, it's doing its thing. You're handling the guns and whatnot. But this uses WASD like
a third-person shooter.
A third person, yeah. But the game is too slow and clunky for that. And when I say slow and clunky, I mean it in a positive way, from the sense of like, these are really big ships, so they are going to have big turning radiuses, and they are going to be a little slow, and things like that. Like, that makes sense. That weightedness makes sense, but then they make it control like it is a third-person action game,
which makes it feel like all the ships are shopping carts with a wheel broken.
Yeah, they do not handle well. So
even the Corvette, which you actually liked.
I liked the Corvette, but there's really only one mode that it works well in. It's like a MOBA-esque mode where that you've got like a capital ship or a command ship that you have to defend, and there's lots of little AI vessels on the map you can destroy to score points and things like that. And the Corvette is great for zipping around and taking out those ships and scoring points for your team. Just locking that down. Mm-hmm. So I liked it for that. But in a straight up fight, it gets killed by anything almost immediately except another Corvette or maybe the
even if
the support cruiser or whatever.
Even if you're going using the energy to drop all, go full offense, because Corvettes can hurt.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you get in there and basically kamikaze yourself into someone, you can take out or at least do massive damage to like even the Dreadnoughts. But they are glass cannons, very very squishy, and get blown up very quickly and easily.
Yeah, if the Dreadnought has the auto guns fired up, oh boy, that's going to be fun for you.
Yeah.
All the ships
or a destroyer with auto guns.
Yeah, all the ships have 4 abilities on top of the energy component, and the Dreadnought and destroyers have the ability to have auto guns. So essentially, the secondaries from older warships for a short time, and they hurt.
Yeah, and then the support cruiser, which is basically the healer.
Think of it as like medic from TF2.
Yeah, and it has an auto guns except for its healing repair beams.
Well, it does have a Tesla cannon as well.
It does. You can swap to the Tesla cannon, but those don't auto fire. You have to manually control that.
Well, it once you lock on, it pretty much just lassos the enemy as long as it's in range, but it has a shorter range.
It's got a very short range.
But the idea is if a Corvette's buzzing you, and the thing is that the camera sucks in this game. If you fly too close to the level geometry, the camera bugs out. If someone flies too close over you, the camera bugs out because it follows you at a slightly elevated position, but dead center, so not like over the shoulder third person. I found out if you're using the sniper ship and you're ascending on the level, because it's not quite 3D space. Think of it as sort of like 2.5D, where you have the choice of going between layers, essentially, for lack of a better term, but it's not a full 3D area, you know? As a matter of fact, a lot of the maps are planetary surfaces, which is just weird for spaceships, you know? But I found if you're ascending while zoomed in on the sniper ship, you block your own field of view.
Well, there's different sniper ship. Like, I didn't have that problem with the sniper ship that I was using. Were you using the one that had like the single?
I was using the tier 2.
Okay, maybe I was just like ascending slower or something, or my target was in just the right position that didn't happen. I didn't use the sniper ship very much though. Like the 2 ships that I favored were the Dreadnought and the support cruiser, because I mean I like to be a support. Play a support role, so I like healing and buffing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the Dreadnought is just a tank.
Yeah, so I would team up with either a Dreadnought on the team, or I would just follow you around there by the end, and I'm like, hey, have some heals.
Get behind me, Doctor.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think with you following me around, it did feel like my old TF2 days, because I tended to play heavy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to go back and play it. Like, I liked it enough to keep playing it, but it does have a lot of issues, and I don't know if it'll get a chance to really work them out with its low player numbers and, the layoffs and everything. The one, like, major, like, problem that we kind of figured out that, we could add to when you talked about it for a couple of weeks in a row was the mini-map.
Yeah, I didn't catch that at first.
You can only see your allies on the map when you have line of sight to them.
Or another ally has line of sight to them. So we figured this out when you were following me, and I couldn't see you on my mini-map, and I spun the camera around and then saw you.
Yeah. Typically in these games, like, you can see your allies on the map.
No matter what.
No matter what. And they always say, like, oh, you're in radio communication with them or something like that. And then it's the enemies that somebody has to have line of sight to, which makes sense. But having to have line of sight to your allies is stupid.
And
it would be a little more forgivable if this was on a 2D plane but it's not. You have verticality to your movements.
Some verticality. I mean, it's not a lot. It's not a full 3D space. Like something like Elite Dangerous would be.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of calling it 2.5, even though that's not proper either. It's almost like a flight sim in a way,
And I would say more of an arcadey flight game.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's enough verticality to it on some of the levels that you can, duck or go over something to.
Yeah, there's some really deep
levels.
There was one that I hadn't encountered that was a ring station on top of a space elevator.
Yeah, that's a cool level.
Yeah, and the space elevator drops way down out of sight.
Yeah. I don't understand it, like you made this point too, but I don't understand why there's so many levels that are on planets or moons or, terrestrial bodies. Mm-hmm. Like, if there were maybe one or two, that's cool, but it seems like half or more of the levels involve...
And plus, a lot of the maps are also the day and night,
Yeah. So, more space. More space.
Granted, I kind of understand why they would do the terrestrial levels, because in space, there's not a day and a night. Well, there's not as a distinct day and night. You have to do a lot more tinkering with things. So maybe it's just an easier way to double the map pool.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's not so big of a deal that would be the thing that would keep me from playing, but it's like,
It's just a weird thing, especially since these are spaceships. And because of that, because they feel like they focused more on terrestrial, they don't behave like spaceships should. Like you brought up, there's no strafing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
yeah, you can't strafe. You can only forward, backward, and turn left and right. And there should be lateral movement. Yeah.
There is the I guess ultimate, for lack of a better term, for one of the sniper ships, like going on tier 3, is a dive maneuver, but that is like 16,000 experience to get to learn how to dive.
Yeah.
And once you get tier 3, the experience cost jumps big time. It way slows down. They really front-ended the progression curve. To an understandable degree, because, it does give you access to all the ships pretty quickly. I was wrong in saying that it was immediate, but pretty much, right?
Yeah, it was real fast. But getting past, or getting into and past tier 2, like, it builds up real fast. Like, It slows down really quickly is the better way to say it. Like, you get those initial tier 2 ships and then access to the Corvette really fast, and then it seems to slow down quite a bit. Maybe it would be faster if we won more games, but I mean, it's really hard to most games like this, you need to have some sort of team cohesion to perform well most of the time. Like, it's really hard, if not impossible, for one person or two people to carry a team. And you and I worked pretty well together, and we had lots of instances where we were, pretty decent scorers on our team. But without coordination from other members of the team, or, without people more, I would say, intelligently picking the different ship classes, because most of the time you would wind up with one or two ship classes having the majority of the players, and it's like, well, fuck, we don't have any healers, or, well, fuck, we have 4 healers. And it's like, I mean, that is half the team, so a little more coordination would be.
But it's hard to do
helpful.
that when there's no tactical map. The only thing you have is that shitty mini map, and on some of the modes, it does show the entire level, particularly the area capture one, which you really liked as well, didn't you? How they did it?
Yeah, that was fun. I like the way they did it. Needing to hold more territory than just the capture
hold
points
more
in order
area
to
of the
score points
map.
And win.
Because we actually lost that map, even though we held the control points for a lot longer, because the enemy spread out a lot more and carried a lot more of the area.
Yeah. But I think my favorite mode was the MOBA mode. What is it, Conquest? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
That one's my favorite mode, and I think that one's your least favorite.
Just because it's hard to really get a grip on. You know, I only played it a couple times before we played together, and because there's no overarching map, and the mini map is shit, it's hard to get a feel of what's going on in the level at that moment. Where are my allies? Where's my where's the capital ship that I have to defend? It's a MOBA mode without a MOBA map, which is weird. It feels like Dreadnought has a lot of good ideas that are kind of half-assed and half-baked because they understood what they wanted to do, but not the underpinning systems that they need to have in place for them. Like if you have a MOBA mode, not having a way to be able to coordinate as a team, not having an overarching map to see, okay, my team is all going in this direction. Maybe I should ping the map to try to get their attention on the fleet of enemies that's swinging around to get the capital ship. There is pinging in the game, but the thing is that it's only in the third-person view, and if you don't have line of sight, well, right?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of half-baked systems.
Yeah.
On top of
and the navigation menus suck ass.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see what I meant by the radio menu for the energy, right?
Yeah, the radio menu doesn't bother me too much. There are hotkeys to use those.
Yeah, but they don't highlight those.
No.
It's a UI, like I said before, that shows a lot of area, but not a lot of information.
Yeah. Everything is huge and takes up massive screen real estate. Oh, there's God. Oh. It takes up massive screen real estate, but doesn't really give you much information overall.
I mean, you
don't have good information. Like, there's no way to tell in the match what the range of all of your weapons and abilities are. And there's not a good way to tell it even if you go look at your ships. You have to actually go to the upgrade screen. Yeah. And see what they are there. And there's no other way to see it that I could find.
In match, they will highlight a button if it's available. Like if you have a weapons lock on your missiles or torpedoes, it'll highlight them.
Yeah.
But because the buttons are at the very top of the screen, they're way out of the way. So unless you catch the voice cue, you're not going to notice that.
Yeah.
Because the way the camera looks. It's kind of weird. They put the information up above, but the way the camera looks is that you're typically looking at the lower 2/3 of the screen. Even whenever you're only time you're looking at the upper third of the screen actively is whenever you're way below someone shooting at them.
Yeah.
It's just I'm trying to think of very weird design philosophy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else to really add. I'm trying to think about things that you said in the last couple of weeks.
What do you think of how they monetize it? Because I remember you being kind of bitter, saying, "Oh, of course that costs money."
Oh yeah, just like okay. So there's not that I can tell, a way to separate out the things that cost money, real money, or their premium currency, and the things that don't. And it was hair. There's no fucking hairstyles.
Everybody, no. Oh, I just figured it out. All right. I figured out the lore of this game. Why nobody has hair. All right.
Okay.
They're all in spaceships. Okay. Now, what is a problem for people that are in space in for a long term?
Muscle degeneration?
No. I figured
radiation.
Radiation, yes. They all have cancer and they're all constantly on chemotherapy.
Oh God, that's dark.
Even for me.
Although to be fair, it is a pretty dark universe. Like the little bit of lore that they present to you about it is like everything sucks. We were cut off from our colonies. We all hate each other. We fight a lot.
Basically, the further out the Earth Coalition fought, the more bloodthirsty they got. So everybody having cancer, that's actually kind of life for this game.
Yeah.
But it also explains why the controls are cancer.
Oh, hi-oh.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's fine.
I got a little dark there. What can I say? It's American politics. Having to deal with American politics, it makes me dark. Okay, darker.
Yeah, I was gonna say darker.
Dark and bitter, like coffee.
Might need some more of that before we're done. We'll see.
Well, I have an entire pitcher of cold brew. Just come on over.
I drank all of my cold brew earlier today.
I'll see. As soon as I get like the last quarter of the pitcher, I have a thermos that I put it in. My cold brew storage. My cold brew storage. And start making another batch immediately.
Nice. So yeah, moving on to the last game that I played this week, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Back to what I was saying before about playing older games and things like that. I picked this up and played it for about 2.5 or 3 hours. I've played it before, didn't beat it, but I've probably put in previously, 8 to 10 hours on the game. I'm not 100% sure. But, I mean, I've owned this game since 2014, so I've had it for about 4 years. And I just, thought it might be a good game to go back and try out. The only time I played it before, I played it on my laptop, and it would run at 60 most of the time.
Ish.
So, putting it on my desktop, and it, immediately is, at 120 and never dips, and looks pretty decent, actually. It looks pretty good. The faces, the faces are a little but for the most part, the game looks really good for it to be, I think, 6 or 7 years old at this point. So that's good. I enjoy it. It's basically an offline MMO. I think the story goes it was originally intended to be an MMORPG, and then funding issues and stuff, so they basically changed it to single player only, redid some of the storytelling so that it could flow a little bit better, but most of the quests reflect the original MMO nature. A lot of fetch quests and go pick up 10 bear asses, go kill 20 giant bumblebees or whatever, and then come back. So that's a lot of what you get. But I'm okay with that. That's the sort of thing that I do and enjoy a lot of now, is this zen sort of, okay, even though this is a repetitive task, I'm tired, I don't have to apply too much brain power to it, and this is different than, whatever other game I'm playing right now to listen to podcasts to or whatever. Otherwise, I mean, it's a hack and slash RPG that's got a pretty robust system of magic and level ups and weapons, and it's some pretty deep crafting and things like that, particularly for the time when this game was created. It's got a fairly basic hack and slash combat system where the combos sort of come in as pairing a primary and a secondary weapon that combo well off of each other. Basically, you've got quick tap of a button to do one certain type of combo, slow tap of a button to do another type of combo, and then holding it for some kind of power or special ability.
Oh yeah, tap it.
But you can combo back and forth between your primary and secondary weapon to get some interesting and unique weapon effects. And the more you put skill points into certain sort of classes, you've got sort of your big tanky warrior fighty stuff, which affects several weapons, and you've got your sneaky rogue stuff that affects certain type of weapons, and then you've got your mage stuff that affects certain types of weapons. And the more points you get into those, the more complex the comboing can get between the primary and the secondary weapon, and just generally with the primary weapon as well. You get extended combos and more special moves and things like that open up to you, which pretty standard RPG stuff. But it's pretty cool to go back and forth between twin daggers, really fast stabby attacks to knock somebody off guard, and then swapping to a giant warhammer for a finishing blow while they're staggered from being hit a whole bunch of times with your knives, or going after somebody with a long sword, knocking them down, and then pulling out your bow and shooting them in the face with a power attack. It's pretty satisfying combat, and I quite enjoy it. It doesn't have a morality system, but there is a sort of subtle nuance to your moral choices. Like there are some things you can see that are, more good, some things that are more bad, and the consequences are reflected within the game as opposed to, oh, you got plus 10 light side points, so now you get a teeny tiny 1% bonus to whatever.
Or
instead,
or you got a few dark side points, so now your eyes are glowing red.
Yeah, in the first town, there's like this cult, and everybody in the town is like, oh, the cult's bad, they're brainwashing people, yada yada. And you can go and you can there's different things you can do with the cult, but say you go in and you steal all their stuff and murder a whole bunch of them. Everyone in the town is like, yay, you killed the cult people, except for like a few people, and they're like, oh my god, like, you killed them, they were in a cult, you monster, you should have explored further. And vice versa, like if you
now what happens if you drink the Kool-Aid over there? Game over?
You get special powers. But there's more subtle things too, like you find someone out in the woods and they're asking you to help them, but instead of helping them, like, you kill them and take their stuff. You go back to town and someone's like, oh, where's so-and-so? Oh, I killed him. Oh, Jesus, fuck, you killed him. I mean, they don't say that. It's like, Jesus, fuck, you killed him? Oh, I'm scared of you now. You can't come into my shop and buy from me. Because it's like, that was my friend, and you killed my friend, so I don't want anything to do with you. Stuff like that.
So you kill him and take all his stuff in the shop, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you do. The game's got a pretty deep crafting system, like I said, particularly for the age that it is. And I think that's the MMO roots coming out. You can craft everything from weapons to armor, upgrade everything. You can craft spells. You can craft regular clothes. Just wander around in regular clothes.
So it definitely shows that it had an MMO focus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, having... Yeah. It feels weird to say that this has a lot more of a roleplay focus, so obviously it was an MMO. Because it completely ignores the whole R in RPG, or RP,
Yeah. But, I mean, the story and the lore are pretty deep. It does front load a lot of exposition. I think that was something they went in to fix last minute, or, after they couldn't do it as an MMO anymore. Because the first probably 2 hours of the game are really big, like, yes, here's the history of our land told to you through these wacky, well, not wacky, but these adventures you're going on. And also a couple of cutscenes and some very, very long dialogue with, Mr. Important Dwarf Man. After that, it opens up and becomes a lot more nuanced. But it's an enjoyable game. I mean, if you've never played it before, I mean, you can pick it up real cheap. It goes real cheap on many Steam sales. How much does it cost right now if you just want to buy it? Where are you at? There's the link. Okay, so the whole thing, the collection is $40 right now. The base game is $20, but it has been on sale. Let's see, the collection has been on sale for $7.50. So that's that and all the DLC. The standard game has actually been free a couple of times, it looks like. Currently, you can get the standard game for $10 at Games Planet UK if you wanted to do that. But, I mean, I've seen it regularly go on sale for, $4 or $5 for the base game during a Steam sale. And, I mean, it's got a lot of content. I would probably... I would reckon... I would reckon that it's got... a good 50 or 60 hours for the main story. If you want to be a completionist, close to 100 hours. So if you're looking for an RPG you haven't played before, don't mind a little bit of grindiness from MMO roots, I'd give Kingdoms of Amalur a shot. It's a pretty decent old game. And that's it for all the games that we played this week.
Yeah. Hey, woo. Look, right at the hour mark.
We did it.
All thanks to a random old man, scraping up his car. I was also trying to figure out how to, covertly take a picture of it, but, that seemed a little much. It was one of the moments that I wish I just constantly had, like, a GoPro recording in my cap, because I constantly wear a baseball cap.
Yeah.
Gonna have to figure out that one, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to, I don't know what you want to call this. It's much more than a news topic at this point.
Dumpster fire?
It's yeah. The brightly burning dumpster fire. That is a Diablo Eternal.
You have a phone, don't you?
Blizzard. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blizzard booed at BlizzCon over its mobile Diablo announcement.
Yeah, that's my editorial thing because, that seems to be the crux of the argument here because, okay. Well, let's break this down, go back in the timeline because this is the derailment of a hype train that, honestly, how could they have not seen this coming? Honestly, because before BlizzCon, I have to admit, I had to go digging for this because I'm not a Blizzard guy anymore. I don't play any of their games. I watch a little bit of StarCraft esports when I happen to catch it on. I don't religiously follow it. I just, if I pop onto Twitch and I see the WCS playing, I guess I'll watch after a bit, and that's it. That's all my interactions these days with Blizzard products. So before BlizzCon, they were talking about how they were going to announce the future of Diablo. Oh boy, right? Looking back at that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was expecting to be Diablo 4, an announcement about Diablo 4.
Well, it's kind of funny that you bring that up because is it in the list? I may. Oh yeah, it's in the list right there below all the YouTube links. But they after they hyped it up, they started trying to temper the expectations, saying, "Well, it's not what you think it is." But they've already, the cat's out of the bag. They have several panels about Diablo at BlizzCon, and usually when there's something like that, it's a major announcement. Then the guy gets on stage. And if you haven't watched this clip, it's in, actually the full thing isn't in the show notes. Maybe I should go hunt that down. But the announcement, and, there's a lot of cheers at first, and as he goes on and on and on, the crowd gets very quiet.
You just watch the air drain out of the room.
And at points when he stops for your typical applause, dead silence, or a couple people laughing. Yeah, not a good sign. Oh. And also, whenever they showed all the people in cosplay playing it, they didn't look like they were having fun to me. Did it to you?
No. Have you seen some of the pictures where they're like, the full area, and it's not quite deserted, but it's close.
Yeah, this is another one of those cases of not playing to your audience.
Yeah, there were some ways that this could have went that would have been a lot better to announce it.
Honestly,
if
what they should have done, in my opinion, because what is coming out now is that they were going to announce Diablo 4, but scrapped it last minute, which doesn't bode well for Diablo 4 now, does it?
No.
When modern game releases or game announcements can literally be a logo and that's it. I mean, we've seen that trend going on. The fact that Blizzard isn't even comfortable doing that screams that Diablo 4 is in trouble, in my opinion, or is in the middle of a major redo, which is worrisome on that front. But we're not talking about that right now.
No, the way that they could have done this, where it wouldn't. I mean, there would have been some people who would have bitched about it, but for the most part, it would have been probably received somewhere between neutral and with praise, as if they had been like, go through the whole presentation and they're like, look, we know you guys are excited for Diablo 4. It's just not ready yet. We had to pull
the fact that they didn't mention Diablo 4 at all. And I think at the very end of their QA, they were saying that they had other projects in Diablo at the very end.
Right. But if they had been like, we're working on it, here's something to hold you over until we get it, until it's ready. And then said, Diablo Eternal, this mobile game, we partnered with, who is it?
NetEase, which is a Chinese developer. You may remember them because they were being sued early this year by Bluehole or PUBG Corp, one of the two, for essentially PUBG clones. And people were complaining about this looking like essentially a carbon copy of one of their games, which, okay, this is going to sound very racist, but let's just plow ahead anyway. A lot of people are concerned about them being a Chinese developer because of the Chinese design philosophy embracing pay to win. And in fact, the game that people are considering this a clone of, or their game is a clone of Diablo, which is now getting essentially a licensed reskin, which is also what some publications I've seen covering, is heavily pay to win. So there's definitely a lot of concern there about this, one, not being in-house, and two, being farmed out to a Chinese mobile development team, which is known to be heavy pay to win. And the fact that Diablo 3 had the fucking auction house in it.
Yeah, this is the real money auction house.
Yeah, this is not a good... this is not a way to get trust. And then you double down and say, don't you have phones? They literally said that.
Yeah, they did say that, because there were people that... which one was it? That was the people asking, like, if they had any...
So they did the announcement.
We're going to bring it to PC.
And then they had a small QA section after the fact. And there was two questions that really stood out. One was asking if they were going to bring it to PC. And the developer, I think it was later in the QA, but I'm not certain, because, it's all been, chopped up and thrown into meme-sized portions to be thrown across the internet. But the developer got very defensive about this. Or the guy on stage, I should say. And said, don't you have phones? And to booze. They actually... Now, mind you, this isn't at like E3 or anything, where it's a general trade show or anything. This is BlizzCon, where people pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to be there, to fly across the fucking country, if not across the globe, to go there to embrace Blizzard products, and they're getting fucking booed. That screams disaster.
Yeah. I mean... Activision Blizzard fucked up.
And their stock prices have plummeted.
I've not been a fan of them for a long time. I play World of Warcraft, but that's only because it's like I play it so that I can do something and hang out with my mom. Like, that's the only reason I play World of Warcraft anymore. I don't give a shit. If I was gonna play an MMO, I'd play something sci-fi themed at this point. But other than that,
let's go play WildStar. Oh wait.
Other than that, I haven't spent any money on any Blizzard Activision product in years. The last time I spent any money on anything would have been a couple of years ago. The last time I played Hearthstone, because I bought some card packs.
Yeah, see, I never bought card packs for Hearthstone. I was too poor for that.
But otherwise, I haven't played any of their games in a long time, because I mean, they just have shitty. They're not consumer friendly. And they're getting more and more that way, getting more greedy, thinking that they're... Honestly, I feel like they're arrogant. Like, they seem to be projecting arrogance. Like, oh, we're Blizzard. We're Activision. We're huge. We've been around for forever. We can do whatever we want, and it doesn't matter.
What, the developer screaming, don't you have phones, isn't arrogant?
Yeah, it is. But, that's how they're coming across. Like, fuck you, we don't have to listen to you. Will Doom Eternal do okay? Probably. It probably will.
Yeah, but it won't be with the core Blizzard audience, and they're in danger of losing their audience because, Diablo isn't the only horse in town anymore, They aren't the only show in town anymore. I mean, the people playing Path of Exile are probably have raging erections right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Probably.
Yeah. But let's compare this really to two other mobile announcements from this year. One done poorly and one done actually well. I mean, we could compare this directly to Command and Conquer and Elder Scrolls Blades.
Yeah.
I mean, Command and Conquer did the same thing where they focused quite a bit. Granted, they didn't get booed, but, that was their investors and, the press there, so, less likely to be so. But they were lambasted online because of it. Meanwhile, and we're getting into weird territory again. I'm praising praising Bethesda. Don't worry. Whoa. This is a passing phase. It will all balance out in the end. Trust me. But Bethesda, on the flip side of things, highlighted that it was, a side project, that, the next Elder Scrolls is still coming. This is something for a different audience to mess around with. They made a funny dick joke. What?
I was gonna say they've done this twice in a row now, because they did the same thing with Fallout Shelter.
Yeah.
They were just like, because it was their huge announcement about Fallout 4,
they understand,
and they're like, oh, by the way, here's a cute little thing for you to enjoy
and it's
while
out
you're
now.
waiting to play Fallout 4. Yeah.
Yeah, they understand that the mobile market isn't. I'm trying to think of how to say this without coming off as Blizzard as in a major dick. They're very different markets. The core PC market, yes, there's overlap, but you can't expect, just because you have a core title, one of the games that is viewed as the ARPG, and because ARPGs are, for some reason, I gotta be honest, I can't fathom why, are somewhat popular on mobile, to expect everybody to, grab their phones and start, shaking their wallets at you. Because, that's, people are very afraid that this is going to be just, cashing in pay to win microtransactions. And, NetEase has a history of, most likely,
of doing that specifically.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Do
you want to...
I was saying, while Bethesda was making very clear that this was just a side project, that this was just something that they were toying with as, bringing in a different audience, or, something to mess with. And it wasn't taking away development time. And because the way they framed this announcement, talking about it being the future of Diablo, even though what they were really talking about was potentially the shelved Diablo 4 announcement, it kind of threw a lot more of the light on this mobile title that, it honestly wouldn't have had otherwise. So they're kind of the victims of their own hype train, which is just hilarious. But the fact that they doubled down, I mean, that's the most damning thing about this. Yeah.
So let's go over, and there was actually quite a bit of chatter on Discord about this, and we got a lot of
so many GIFs,
short responses, memes, stuff like that.
I don't like anal, but you have an ass, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you guys have phones? Don't you guys have any PC devs? And also the other meme-tastic clip that's been going around was a guy in a red shirt, I think it was, that asked if this was an out-of-season April Fool's joke, and there was a lot of cheers to that. And you could could see the frustration on the guy's face on stage at that point.
Yeah. I mean, Blizzard has trolled people at BlizzCon before. Like, that's happened. But, so I could see, like, the fans, like, holding out hope. Like, maybe they're really fucking with us. Like, maybe...
Yeah, and they didn't really show a lot of gameplay. It was a little clip. I mean, they put more effort into their April Fool's jokes. Like, I remember one year StarCraft 2 had a Voltron unit, and they did a full animation using several of the base units and... from StarCraft 2, and it obviously took time, and that had a longer gameplay clip in it, or gameplay in sarcasm quotes there, than this trailer. It was mostly cinematic and not Blizzard quality cinematics, I should say. That's the other thing. It didn't look like a Blizzard announcement. If you took all the branding out of it and just put it on YouTube, I wouldn't have been able to tell that was Diablo. I would have thought it was a shitty mobile game, 27,000 or something. And boy, did the downvotes hit pretty much every copy of that trailer. And there was also some controversy about that as well, because it seems like YouTube was purging downvotes for potential botting, or what they were saying potential botting, and people were saying that Blizzard was re-uploading the videos when it was hard to tell if they were or weren't, and just dumpster fire on top of dumpster fire. Dumpster fire's all the way down, right?
Yeah, there's. I mean, that's basically them trying to censor criticism of their decision.
Yeah, and of course,
and it's like you fucked up.
Yeah, and some of the white knights of games media was jumping in saying, I actually saw tweets talking about how the outrage about Diablo Eternal was a symptom of toxic masculinity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we had the SJW crowd into things as well.
Right.
Do you wish to talk about this?
Not really. I really don't want to.
What
I do want to do,
way too tired for that.
I just don't want to deal with it. There's too much other shit going on tonight. I don't want to open up the SJW issue in games media.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just watching the dashboard, huh?
Yeah. What I do want to do, though, is highlight, among all the meminess and whatnot, Jimmy Jam did give us a more serious take. Yeah. I'll just read through that.
Okay. Give me a little bit of a break.
Yeah. He says, my take on the Diablo debacle is that Blizzard should have known better. Diablo is one of the pillars of classic PC gaming that is held in very high regard. To announce a shitty rescan of a mobile game that was outsourced to another dev as the next Diablo was horrifying. It would be like Valve announcing Half-Life 3, but it's a loot box infested reskin of a bad mobile game. The main issue is not the actual game, but how it's announced and marketed. They chose to hype it and announce it at Blizzcon in front of their most loyal hardcore fans. They also chose to scrap any teaser of Diablo 4, which was apparently already set up, so they decided to tell their most hardcore fans of the PC games that the next Diablo game is going to be a mobile piece of trash and it's never going to be ported to PC, all while maintaining radio silence on Diablo 4, which is in development. What the fuck did they expect? They could have easily headed it off by reassuring their fans that they haven't abandoned PC games in search of mobile profits. They could have gotten away with it if they had announced Diablo 4 will be a while before it comes out, but here's this Diablo-themed mobile game to keep you busy in the meantime. Bethesda managed to get away with it with Fallout Shelter, and Blizzard probably could have too if they actually did some market research. So covered a couple of those points already, but I just wanted to highlight that before we get too far away.
Yeah, because we had community content.
Yeah, I did ask for if anybody was like a big fan or had serious supplies. Like, I've never really been into Diablo. I just, as we've discussed many times, I'm not a super huge fan of most isometric games. We have found a couple which I enjoy, and I might go back and give Diablo
broke you with
a shot.
Divinity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Divinity's different, though. It's basically a turn-based RPG. I can handle that. That's not an ARPG. But anyways, I might go back and play Diablo 2 or 3 and just see if my tastes have changed, if I've, evolved as a gamer at some point. But I have no history with it, so I asked if anybody had, a history with the game or had some serious thoughts or opinions that I'd love to have them for the show. So Kyle said that he was going to do something.
Yeah, which scares me.
So I'm just going to go check real quick and see if it came in late.
Yeah, now thinking about it, I should have tracked down a friend of mine, even though she's rarely online. But let's just put it this way. She would be heavily invested in Diablo now that I think about it. It's just she's rarely online, so I probably couldn't be able to get her or whatever. Let's put it this way, all right? She met her husband playing Diablo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And for a long time, she actually was from Australia. They dated via Diablo because that was the easiest way to do so back in the 90s.
Yeah. So anyways, Kyle did not send an email tonight at this point. But, Kyle, if you want to send something in, we can... I would still love that. We can talk about it some more next week.
Yeah, I'm sure the dumpster fire will still be smoldering.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe Blizzard will throw some gasoline on it again and have something meme-tastic with it again.
Yeah.
Speaking of dumpster fires?
Yeah, are you wanting to segue to the next topic or more to do with this Blizzard thing?
Shall we segue to the next topic then? Unless you have something else to talk about here. I mean,
I don't think so.
I think we covered everything there, at least for now. I'm sure there'll be more as we go through, but yeah, the fact that games media, or at least a certain segment of it, is defending Blizzard instead of actually reporting is just sad. But that's also editorial, and they're free to do their editorial stuff, but at the same time, calling their viewer base toxic, talking about toxic masculinity and talking about entitled gamers again. Oh, all right.
Yep. Sad day.
So speaking of entitled gamers,
indeed. So our next news topic: Fallout 76 faces technical woes, and that again is maybe an understatement.
I was being
beta,
a generous editor here.
Their beta has been plagued with many issues. Many issues.
Well,
some of them, the game is broken at its core.
Probably my favorite one.
Design.
All right, out of all this, they actually had to tweet out, "Do not press any of the buttons on the launcher," because for a while, the launcher, if you hit the buttons on it in the PC version, would delete the fucking game. It's like the launcher knows, right? It's become self-aware.
Yeah. I have to say, I do give them credit for cleverness that they turned beta into an acronym, the Break It Early Test Application. I think that's cute, and I like bad puns.
And also truth in advertising.
So, yeah.
But to be fair, we do this already because it's a Bethesda title. And yes, we are back around to bashing Bethesda. The order has been restored in the universe. Thank you. But
yeah.
Let's talk about. Let's just go down the list. How about the fact that the game has built-in speed hacking, or at least for a time. There's talks about them actually force locking VSync, which is a band-aid over a gaping wound. But because this runs on the same engine that. Essentially, they've been running for about 20 years now. I'm actually not joking on that. The creation engine, the Fallout 4 engine, has its roots in Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Granted, it was the Game Bro engine back then, and the creation engine is essentially a remastering of it, but the core concepts of it is still the Game Bro engine. It still has some of the bugs from the old Game Bro engine, like the fact that animations were tied to your frame rate if you went above a certain threshold. And because of how Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 by extension runs their animations, if you're running above 60 FPS, you're suddenly moving faster. You're swinging melee weapons faster. You're most likely reloading faster. Actually, I haven't seen testing on that. But yeah, that seems to be a slight problem in I don't know, how about a competitive multiplayer game? The fact that unlocking your frame rate, and as a matter of fact, even just looking down so your frame rate goes up further, makes you move faster.
Yep. Get fast frame rate staring at the ground. But yeah, I just whenever I heard that, I was like, Jesus, why are we still linking game physics to frame rate?
Because Bethesda is a bunch of hacks. Why is that
still a thing?
Bethesda has gotten complacent. They've gotten used to throwing out a shitty, broken mess of a game, and yes, I am including pretty much all the Fallouts, barring Fallout New Vegas, because That was, well, okay. That was also shitty and broken on release. And that was only partially Bethesda's fault. Okay, mostly Bethesda's fault. But they weren't the ones that coded that mess. But they've gotten complacent about allowing modders to fix their steaming piles of shit. And, that's not going to happen this time because they've already said that mods are a year off. Oh, wait, because this is the same engine as Fallout 4 and people have experience doing this, they're able to mod the game only at single-player mods, and it's, cheats. So there's people that's talking about being able to, I don't know, let's pick something almost at random. How about being able to put a bar in the game that allows you to pretty much instantly unlock any lock? Did you watch that video?
Yeah, I did.
Mind-blowing, huh?
Yeah. One of the problems with stuff like that, too, one of them, several problems, I'm sure, that I've heard people complain about, this just being an issue anyways from the game, is that because it's an MMO, around 50 to 60% of the containers are shared, and they're on respawn timers. So if you get somewhere after somebody else, then there's no loot there. And if somebody's able to instantly unlock everything and speed up the time,
granted,
they
it's
can
not
get through
instant,
and get all the loot
it's
drops,
substantially faster.
Faster.
It's the same unlocking minigame that's been in since Fallout 3, essentially.
Yeah.
So you have to move the bobby pin and to the right arc on.
I thoroughly dislike that unlock mechanic.
It's not.
I really liked Oblivion's better.
It's not realistic in the slightest, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's not how lock picking works.
No,
but
I've picked a few locks. I know how to pick locks.
I know the theory behind it, but I've never picked a lock.
Yeah, I've done it before.
But
I used to have a set of tools when I worked at Lowe's in the tool section, or in the tool section. I was one of the only people that could figure out how to unlock a lock without, if you don't have the master key, in case someone needs a lock rekeyed or something, you'd actually have to go through and take the lock apart or pick it, depending on how damaged or screwed up, whatever somebody brought it in. So I actually learned how to pick locks. I'm a little bit rusty, but I can pick most door locks.
But the fact that there's the lockpick mod where you're able to instantly tell pretty much where you need to put the bobby pin, and then it's just a little bit of fine tuning. They were unlocking locks in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
when typically,
that.
In Fallout, I would say it'd be, I would say 30 seconds would be about a good average, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because, you have to do a little bit of testing, prod it a little bit, and that's an open window for you to get, shot in the back of the head. And this, you're pretty much instantly done. And the fact that that's a thing, really? And the fact that the server's able to, or I should say the client's able to tell, really ties into a lot of what I have labeled as networking shitstorm. That the fact that the game servers, and I have an archive of this just in case I nuked this, because the Fallout subreddit is a little bit salty about things. How the servers trust the clients pretty much completely. So let's see. There's a breakdown of 5 reasons not to use an engine that you made entirely open and provided all the tools needed to mod the engine in an online game. Oh, and how entirely not to secure anything of your users. Number 1, there's no server checks to verify models or file integrity. Want to make the trees smaller or player models bright colors to see them easier? Go right ahead. Here's the tools you need to it. Terrain and invisible walls / collision is client side. Want to walk through walls? Open up that beautiful ESM and file and edit it. The server doesn't care or check. Want to save money on server hardware and make ping a little bit more manageable? Go ahead. Open up a client to client communication, but don't encrypt it or obfuscate it in any way. Open up Wireshark while you're playing and nab someone's IP if you want. send packets to the server to auto use their consumables, all very nicely in plain text. Even get health info and player location. Why waste time injecting the executable and getting nabbed by anti-cheat when you could get all the info from the network? Want to grief people and be a god? Go ahead, keep a looping packet captured in Wireshark reporting you have full health. Why would the server care about something as little and game-breaking like this? It's a great idea to let your client tell the server that it's state and the server not to check anything it's being told. The possibilities with this are endless, and probably just to give yourself items by telling the server, hey, you picked it up. And number 5, someone in your game being mean? Again, have Wireshark? Well, let's just forge a packet with the disconnect command and have it knock them offline. In conclusion, Bethesda should not have made the Fallout 76 by throwing mods on it from the Nexus and sold it as a new game. And Bethesda is saying that this isn't entirely accurate, but they are working on fixing issues, but they're not saying which of these issues or if any other ones are accurate, which screams, PR are trying to twist things, or things are a lot worse.
Yeah,
but the fact that if any one of those 5s is accurate, that's devastating.
Yeah, I had a pretty big suspicion this was going to be a mess from the beginning.
Oh, I thought too. I thought so too. But this is beyond my wildest dreams of how big a dumpster fire this is.
I mean, Bethesda has no idea how to make an MMO. They have no idea how to make really an online game, and they have no idea how to make a new game engine.
They have no idea how to make a survival game, which this technically is.
I mean, this is just a massive recipe for disaster, which just keeps getting worse and worse as time goes on.
I disagree. It's getting better and better. Hey, this is the only way I'm going to enjoy this game.
I mean, I'm probably never going to play it ever.
I do have to admit that there is a curiosity for me, just because I live in the area that the map shows. So it's it's the same idea as if like American Truck put out an expansion with Tennessee. You'd be a lot. That would make me happy. You'd be a lot more interested in it just because, hey, I know this street or I know this highway. It's that sort of thing for me. Going like into Charleston and looking at the buildings there and knowing some of them throughout the Upper Kanawha Valley, that sort of thing. That's like the only curiosity for me. I have zero interest in this Rust reboot, but the fact that, there is a market for it, but the thing is that this is also highlights how slow game development is for AAAs, because this is an obvious cash in on these kind of open world survival games that were the fad before Battle Royale, right?
Yeah.
So this is...
And how AAA developers usually get to the scene a little bit late.
A little bit. The boat's already gone from port, gone out into the middle ocean and sunk, and the next ship is coming in and is already leaving.
Okay, so a lot late.
Granted, Battle Royale is a lot easier to throw it together. Do you think they're going to put a Battle Royale mode in this?
Probably. But I don't really give a shit. Like I said, not really interested in playing this.
Well,
I would have been willing to pay for multiplayer, like co-op.
All I ever wanted in either Fallout or Elder Scrolls is co-op. That's it. Between 2 and 4 people, and have a cooperative Fallout experience with the same story. The same story quality. Just have it instead of like the Lone Wanderer or the Lone Courier, have a group, and you could easily do that. But the fact that this is a Fallout game without NPCs, with a very passive story where you're not even an active participant in it, as far as I could tell, based on the people talking about the beta, everything is via audio logs or through the radio, So you're not even an active participant in the story or the quest. Everything has happened and you're late to the party. Boy, that's actually kind of ironic now that I think about it. Yeah.
No, that would be poetic. It's very poetic.
Some poetic justice then.
Yeah.
But yeah. Honestly, did anybody play Fallout 4 for the game for the gunplay and think I want more of this with a shittier version of the colony management?
Yeah,
with
no.
griefing, I might add.
I enjoyed the gunplay in Fallout 4 more than previous Fallout games.
Yeah, but that wasn't what you were there for.
Colony management. No, but that's not the main reason I was there for. I don't need more of that, and I certainly don't want a shittier version of the colony management aspect. I want more of that that's better and more flushed out.
I can't hear your shitty Rust clone.
Yeah, if they had done that even, like really fleshed out that system, I would wait until, maybe a year later, whenever it is that they said that they're going to put private servers in.
Honestly,
and then set up a private server, not let anybody on, and just build a town.
Here's my opinion what they should have done, all right? They should, well, first of all, they couldn't have done this in their game engine, so, that pretty much makes it impossible. But if they wanted to focus on the survival and colony management, instead of doing a third-person shooter like this, they should have done a single-player you never played Neo Scavenger, have you?
No, I haven't.
But something like Neo Scavenger, a rogue light, or rogue like, depending on your definition there, or even go full on with the management style and be like Banished, where you're building up a colony and you're sending out exploratory groups and you're getting lore about the surrounding area. And you could easily socket that into the existing lore without retconning literally everything. Because that's something else that they're doing that's pissing off long-term fans, is that they're retconning a lot of the factions to be active in places that they weren't active long before they were active,
Yes.
So it's another one of those things that, it's just, a big middle finger to long-term Fallout fans.
Yeah, when it comes to Bethesda, the only thing I've got my eye on is like, okay, what are you going to do to the next Elder Scrolls?
Yeah, it makes you a little concerned about that, doesn't it?
Oh, I've been concerned about that for a while now.
That's why I'm, that and the fact that I didn't really care for Skyrim. If I modded it enough and threw enough total conversions at it, I think I would enjoy it. But, I was playing the game for the game and not, the engine. The Elder Scrolls at this point is pretty much just a game development tool, or a place for game devs to get their feet wet, or future game devs, I should say, to make mods. But the fact that we have the mod workshop now, and it seems like they're going more and more off Steam, so I don't want another launcher,
Yeah, me neither. Let's see. Got several.
Okay,
got several launchers.
Steam.
I don't need another one.
What are we? Steam, GOG, Ubisoft, Humble Bundle technically because of all that, Twitch, Discord because I had a free game on there, and I'm sure I'm forgetting like half a dozen. But
Uplay? Did you say Uplay?
Well, I said Ubisoft.
Oh, okay.
But that's 6 right there. Listed off pretty rapidly.
Yep, I can add to that list the Rockstar launcher for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, it's going to get... Well,
Boo.
What?
A launcher for one fucking game. I don't need that. Just let me launch the game straight from the executable.
Can't hear you launching.
I know.
But...
Dreadnought has a launcher.
Yeah, well...
Because launching it from Steam launches the launcher.
Yeah. And then it stays open when you close it.
Yep. So you gotta close the launcher that you launched from launching the game from Steam.
Launcher's all the way down.
Did we miss any of the Fallout 76 topics?
Let's see. Eurogamer, the build-in speed hack, the networking shitstorm. That is mispasted. Whoops. The lockpick mod, Bethesda claiming inaccuracy, but they are saying that things are getting fixed anyway. They have done a VSync or forced VSync at, I believe it's 62 FPS, which is technically it's an even number, but it's an odd number, you know?
Yeah.
Makes me wonder
is there a way to force it at a higher frame rate? Force it to like 90
I don't know,
120?
but you're running into the problems with the physics again because of how they have it set up. So I'm assuming like 62 FPS is like their baseline 100%, which also makes me wonder if people VSync at 60 FPS if they're seeing a slight detriment. But it wouldn't surprise me. Well, they say that you could disable the VSync by INI file.
Well, there you go.
But
problem solved.
Yeah, it's going to be a constant fight with the mods. I don't see how, if you're going into this game, just to dick around and you do your thing, fine, maybe. But I just see it as just an endless frustration. At least on PC. On console, it's going to be a little bit more locked down, but not much. Because the console you could do things as well. But it's just what a fuck up, huh?
Oh yeah. It's a big old mess. It's kind of fun to watch. Can't wait to hear more and more of this be talked about on all those other gaming podcasts I listen to.
Yeah, which I haven't listened to.
Got some pretty diehard Fallout fans on some of them, so let's see if they're gonna
have the Kool-Aid.
Gonna defend. Yeah. Defend or be open and honest about what's going on.
Yeah, which if they defend this, it makes you kind of wonder if you should be listening to them, huh? In my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I can accept, like, look, it's got a lot of problems, but I've always really wanted to play a multiplayer Fallout game, and this is what I've got. Fair. I mean, I can understand that. Like,
but if they completely gloss over,
like, no, it's fine, everything's fine, it's all fine here. How are you? Then it's like, okay, all right, you've got problems. We got problems.
So in other words, if they go full Han Solo.
Yeah. I was going to say never go full Han Solo, but you should probably... I mean, I don't know. If I was given the choice to be Han Solo or not, I'd probably be Han Solo.
Well, it depends. Are you going to end up as a scented candle?
Oh, yeah.
I still can't believe that's a thing.
With a red wick. Was the wick red? It should have been.
No, it wasn't. Remember, this was the original trilogy, scented candles. And yes, that is actually a thing. That's an item that exists in his Bible. Limited edition Star Wars scented candles. And one of them smells like the fucking trash compactor.
I don't want that one, but I want
No, they're sold in sets, so you're getting the trash compactor.
Well, I guess I'll just throw it in my trash compactor.
What's hilarious is, the person that was reviewing them, Ashen, he was smelling the Millennium Falcon, and he says, I don't know, it smells like leather and like a hint of cheap aftershave. And then he had it dawned on him, oh my god, that's Han Solo!
That is Han Solo, absolutely, to a T.
Oh.
Okay. Well, then let's, with that through then, let's move on to our final news topic of the night. PS4 share will be blocked in the second half of Catherine Full Body's story mode. So this is another one of those things where that, let's see, who's the developer?
I'm pretty sure this is the same one that's that did Persona.
Persona, yeah. They are blocking on PS4 the streaming app from working in the second half of the game. So if you're not using a hardware capture method,
it's published by Atlus, so yeah, it's the same publisher.
Yeah.
I was just
so if you're not
checking.
using a hardware capture solution like an Elgato or something, of the many others that are out there on the market, There's no way to actually stream this. So this is dumb for a number of reasons. The biggest reason is it's like...
It's your free advertising.
It's free advertising for your game. It is a censorship thing, which... I don't want to go down that road, actually, right now. I don't want to do that.
But I'm not sure where we're going with this, or where you are potentially going with this.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Oh, anyways. Whisper it to me. I'll listen closer.
Whisper. But I mean, this game is an older game. This is a remaster. You made this point whenever we brought it up. You said, it's an older game. If someone wants to find out about it, they can easily go to YouTube and find out about it. Like, what's the point?
Only caveat here is that they are putting in an additional character, which, how the hell does that work? Because the original story was about this guy that was essentially caught in between, the temptation of cheating on, I can't remember if it was, like fiance or wife or what, but they were both named Catherine, just one with a C, one with a K.
There's several different theories about like what it is and what's happening in the game. Like some stuff about her having like a dissociative identity disorder. So like,
I never looked too much into it because it's a PlayStation only title. So,
right, or whether or not she's some sort of like demon or ghost and is invading his dreams because she tempted him and he followed through on it. Like there's a bunch of different interpretations for this game, and it's somewhat in the original. There is a story to follow, but it does sort of leave that question up to you, like, what do you think is going on? And he goes through these, these nightmares and has to come out on the other side, like dealing with regret and guilt. Fascinating story, actually, told very well. So it's just frustrating to see that they're trying to hamstring people who want to stream or, record and do stuff with it. I don't like when game develop. Like, I'm getting more and more like
me.
You're grumpy, more and more grumpy about all of this stuff. Like, seriously, just don't. To some extent, I mean, companies do have rights. I'm not trying to say that like, oh, just once you put a product out there, it's out there, and you have no control or say or anything. Like, companies can certainly try things, and legally, they are within their right to do so. But when it comes to the gaming space, streaming, with how popular and how big a part of the industry streaming has become, trying to hamstring someone's livelihood, if they're at that level, trying to hamstring someone's hobby by putting these ridiculous restrictions on is frustrating to no end. Because it's like, hey, we all just want to have a good time. We want to share your game, and not even just the free advertising bit, but also that, like, hey, we want to show it off, and then maybe someone will go buy it and want to play through the rest of it. And those are probably a small percentage for a game like this, but it's one of those things. It's like game devs always talk about leaving money on the table. Well, to use that argument against them, like, you're fucking leaving money on the table by telling people they can't stream the second half of your game, and they know they're going to do it anyway. That people are going to do it anyway.
Copyright strikes, aren't they? They did on Persona. Which I
didn't see anything.
Okay, they've threatened them in the past, so that leads me to think that they're going to threaten them again. Yeah, but they eventually lightened up. I don't think they ever completely removed the sword of Damocles over this. But they lightened up after a time. But it makes me not want to deal with them. Yeah. Or honestly. Kinda makes me want to load up an emulator and go play Persona 4 on stream.
I was gonna say I've always wanted to play Persona. Like, I feel like it would be a game or that series. It would be a series I would enjoy.
I tried getting into it. It's just it has a Kojima level entry where it's cutscene on top of cutscene on top of cutscene. It's like watching an anime going into it. I bet you I was a good 2 hours into it, and short of just, walking around, not having actual gameplay, I didn't have actual gameplay till the very end of that time frame. And that was the tutorial battle, So
Yeah.
whenever I say Kojima, I mean Metal Gear Solid levels of cutscene. Oh, okay, here's a cutscene. Okay, just to change pace, we're going to take 2 steps and then a cutscene.
Wow, a whole 2 steps. But anyways, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't buy a game. I wouldn't buy the game. I would either emulate one of the older ones.
Well, it's a PlayStation title anyway, so it would be emulation only for me.
I thought that one of the Personas was on. I thought the most recent Persona was on Steam.
I thought you meant Catherine.
Oh no, I was talking about Persona.
Actually, I'm not certain.
Persona.
Yeah, Persona 5 is on PC.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Oh no, hang on. No, that's it actually links to Sonic. Whoops. Okay, so they haven't released Persona 5. It looks like searching Persona 5, it links to what Sonic is this? That doesn't bode well that I can't tell what
Sonic Forces. That's I'm looking at it. It's in Sonic Forces. You get to create your own custom character equipped with powerful gadgets to help Sonic take back the world.
Now I see where it came up from. Matching characters from Persona 5 or Persona registered trademark 5, which that's also okay. That's not a pet peeve. That's a psychotic fucking hatred. Having trademark or registered trademark or registered property in the middle of a title. It just breaks the flow,
Yeah. Okay. I thought Persona 5 was on
No, it's not.
PC, but I guess not.
It looks like people are wanting it, but I'm not sure if there's even a Persona game officially released on PC.
Yeah, it says.
Granted, they did say that. Hang on. Atlus says Persona 5 and Yakuza 0 aren't releasing for PC or Nintendo Switch. This was from January 2017. Now think about that one.
Sorry, I was reading something about Persona 5.
The publisher.
I saw a thing that was like.
The publisher said that Persona 5 and Yakuza 0 aren't releasing on PC or Nintendo Switch. This was January of last year.
Oh.
So I wouldn't throw it out of the realm of possibility because...
Well, Yakuza 0's on Steam now. Or Yakuza. Yeah. So they did that thing. Although, honestly, I wouldn't buy it on PC at this point either. I don't want to support shitty industry practices anymore.
Only problem is that we're starting to whittle down the number of developers we can support, huh?
Yep. Good thing I've got like 800 and something Steam games in my library. So, what's done is done on those. I've got them. But anyways, alrighty. Anything else to say on that? Or
that's all I gotta say about that.
That's all I have to say about that. Well, then moving on to Community Corner.
Well, we kind of already covered it.
I was going to say, we kind of used the stuff from Community Corner for that earlier discussion. Were there any tweets or anything?
Not that I saw. So,
okay.
If you wish to give us some content for the Community Corner, you can do so over at VGLpodcast@gmail.com or just tweet us VGLpodcast on the Twitter because, that's how it works, tweeting on Twitter. So, doobly-doo?
Indeed, doobly-doo over
and I get one instantly.
Queue. What'd you get?
Project Hospital.
I also got Project Hospital, but you got to it first, so I'll just add that to wish list and move on.
I saw it on my discovery queue, so I knew it was coming up. But essentially, this is essentially the serious brother of 2 Point Hospital. This is a more serious version of a hospital sim, or a hospital simulator, I should say. Granted, It looks fun. I haven't played it, obviously, but isometric view. It does have a sort of early 2000s feel to it, graphically. But yeah, the fact that it's a more serious title, it's really going to be torn on who, likes the more silly, like cubism, diseases from, 2 Point Hospital, or to be more of a serious, what's actually kind of what a hospital is like behind the scenes. But the fact that both of them are out there, pleases me.
Nice. So I got one on my second go. Kartcraft.
Oh, God.
I'm just going to read the description. Champions are made in kartcraft. No suspension, no downforce, no seatbelts. This is real kart racing. Sharpen your racecraft as 20 other drivers hustle to get past you and steal the checkered flag. This looks like a go-kart racing simulator.
Yeah, didn't they have this for Arma 3 that they added in?
I have no idea.
Pretty sure Arma 3
threw
in a kart racing mode.
This was there's a go-kart racing mode in
I mean, granted, it looks good. It's just if there's the player base, and it is an early access title. Because
Gran Turismo, that's the game I was looking for. There's a kart racing mode in Gran Turismo, and that's one of the most fun modes in the whole game. So this is very exciting to me. Keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, it does look good. It's just a question of what they do with it. So I got a second one, Lethal League Blaze. Have you ever seen Lethal League?
I think so.
Well, for those who have
the name sounds familiar,
it's essentially
so I've at least heard of it.
A competitive Pong online multiplayer. You bat a ball back and forth, and as you repeatedly hit it, it gets faster and faster. And it's a competitive, essentially fighter almost. The only way to knock out an opponent is to bash them with the ball that's flying around, and there's different moves, and you get hit it and do power-ups and that sort of thing. It's a very silly, fast-paced game. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I didn't get to play it nearly as much as I would like, but it has up to 4-player competitive matches. So you can imagine how nuts it gets. So they did a sequel, and it looks very interesting. It'd be a good one for like a stream night or something, if we still did those. Anyway, moving it right along.
Fancy, yeah. I've got one. I'm copying and pasting stuff over. Just give me just one moment.
Alrighty. Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
Is that what I think it is?
It probably is. Snow Days, the Music of Winter Special Edition. It's been like 3 seconds since I've mentioned an anime booby game, and that's what this is. Visual novel. You are snowed in with 5 sexy ladies of various, shall we say, buxom body builds.
Well, let's just see. Let's go screenshot. Well, the most popular screenshot of the week, damn.
Let me...
That should tell you all you need to know about this game immediately. And, well...
Come on. Oh, don't warn me. I want to be warned. View page. Screenshot.
Is number 4 what I think it is?
God damn it. I said don't warn me. Okay. I think it is what you think it is.
That is a disembodied penis.
That is. I'm in.
I mean...
Look at all them nips.
Hell, look at all the butt plugs.
More nips. Oh, that's an asshole. Like, that's just an asshole. Yep. I approve of this game.
Yeah, I was pretty sure I knew what this was because it was on the most popular list. But, yeah.
I mean, if you just want to jerk off and for some reason you don't have access to a porn site, just head on over to the community page for this game. This is just porn. Just
plus
pure pornography.
If disembodied penises is your thing, well, they got you covered.
I mean, I didn't know that was a possibility, but now that is a possibility, I think I'd like to try that out. Wink.
Well, if you wish to try it out, maybe I'll be able to do so in my next game, Party Hard 2. My big problem with the original Party Hard was that it was kind of hard to tell, just what the hell was going on because of the camera angle. It was a not quite 2.5D, but it was face on, and sometimes the line of sights was a little bit funky because of level geometry. Well, it looks like they heard my complaints and they've went full 3D with the sequel, which I don't have a problem with. And it looks like they have proper vision cones, and it actually is able to be a proper stealth game, which it was my big problem with it, really. So maybe this will be a bit better. For those who don't know Party Hard, essentially the nearby party has kept you up one too many times, and you decide the best way to deal with them is to go over and murder all of them, and then go on a killing spree across the nation. That's the first game, and I'm assuming the second one is following in its footsteps. I do know they did a Party Hard Tycoon as well, which was essentially a nightclub simulator. I'm not sure how good it was, though. But yeah.
This looks amazing.
Party Hard?
No, not Party Hard. I didn't like the first Party Hard.
Yeah, I didn't care for it much either, but it was the camera.
So I got one that looks interesting. The shape-shifting detective. This is an FMV game where you play a shape-shifting detective in a supernatural murder mystery game.
So Odo from Deep Space Nine?
Sure. It reminds me a lot of Her Story, except with more varied scenes and settings. I could be all about this. I'm going to do some more research on this later, because it's not very expensive. This would be an excellent way to spend date night, because we did that with Her Story a couple of years ago. Katie and I, on a date night, went through and solved the mystery of Her Story.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we disagreed on what it was.
That's what I was about to say.
This game does not have any English language support, so I'll just move on to another one.
Yeah, I'm looking at one right now. Here, I'll have my anime booby game, because I haven't had one in a while. Even though...
Is it Hentai Betty?
No.
That's another one I just got that looks terrible, so I'm moving on.
No, this one actually looks halfway decent, but, Sabbath of the Witch. Visual novel, it does feature nudity. I can't really talk too much about this because I don't know the story of it and haven't played it, but it is a $30 visual novel. And who is making this? Nico Nan Limited is the publisher, which is one of the larger visual novel groups. So yeah, they are starting to put their stuff out. So let's see. Hushiri has a secret. He has a mysterious power that allows him to perceive the emotions of others. Jared, did you know you had a secret?
Apparently.
However,
apparently I do.
He is soon to find out that he is not the only one who has something special, and he doesn't want others to find out about as Agia Nani, a classmate, likewise has a secret. Ooh, right? I mean, it's a visual novel, so it's going to be a little bit camp, but it doesn't look like it's full on just tits. It looks like it has an actual story. It has some nice artwork. Granted, there are tits, but still, it looks cute.
Yeah.
And of course, it doesn't.
Okay.
The tags aren't helpful, so I don't know, if it gets dark, because sometimes they do. Oh, I just got snow days because I got been hitting visual novels.
I got another visual novel. The Ditzy Demons Are in Love with Me? I don't know if I want to put this on the list or not, but I like the name. Let's see. This actually looks more like a cutesy visual novel. It's just got some dating elements in it. Oh, there's a lot of chibi in here. Chibi's, I like chibi. Chibi's cute.
Okay, I'll
That's
throw this chibi
list.
game I have.
The Ditzy Demons Are in Love with Me. This looks cute. And it's like a full-priced game, too, so apparently they're hoping to be taken seriously.
or they greatly overvalue themselves. Hey, maybe
Perhaps
it's
that
a side development group from Bethesda. So I have Torshiro Gensu Wanderer Reloaded. They say it's a roguelike RPG that's easy for beginners to pick up and play, but with tons of advanced options for pros. Explore dungeons with your Tetsu favorite characters, so I'm assuming this is an overall franchise. Collect loot and battle over the golden, and it cuts off. Or maybe it's just the golden.
The golden cutoff.
Yeah, it cuts off there, doesn't it? Over the golden?
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks interesting. It's just a question of if it's any good. The top comment or the top review says, if you have any love for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, then this game is for you. So that gives you an idea of what to expect here. So yeah, there you go.
There we go, and that's my list. So did I get 4? I got 4.
I'm on my last one, loading up, and
2 of them look very interesting. One of them is just anime booby bullshit, and the other one I'm not sure on, but it was cute enough that it won me
and
over.
that one's shit. So I'm done with my queue.
Sweet.
And I went ahead and started my next one for next week, and I got a good one immediately off the bat for next week, assuming it doesn't change.
Oh. Of course you did.
What?
You always do. Oh, that's my fault, though, for having at one point gone through and done a discovery queue for literally every game on Steam.
So hey, I got a good assortment. I mean, I got essentially anime Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, which I realize I'm repeating myself when I say Pokemon Mystery anime Mystery Dungeon. Anime booby game that actually looks decent. Party Hard 2, which is okay-ish. Yeah, I think I got it. I think I got the better queue this time.
So, speaking of Pokemon, before we move on to the part where I go first, there have been a lot of Pokemon toys in Happy Meals, so my kid is being introduced to Pokemon, and I have been telling him that it's pronounced Pokemans. So now he's like, "Oh, look, Daddy, I got another Pokemon." I'm like, "That's right, you did."
Now the question is, who are you going to send him for therapy on this?
I don't know, but this is fun. I'm having fun
because
with this.
you know this is going to cause trust issues later.
And he said it right too, like he was saying it right. Like someone told him it was Pokemon, so he was saying Pokemon, and I was like, "Nah, it's Pokemon." It's Pokemon and Pokemans. And he was like, "Okay, Daddy," because he's a little kid, and little kids trust their parents explicitly.
So you're trusting him. So you're teaching him early not to trust you. Got it. Good life lesson.
I'm abusing that trust. It's great.
Are you sure you're not Republican?
Anyways,
cashing him for a short-term gain for a long-term loss.
Oh. And now you made me feel sad.
Don't worry, I'll show banter. I'll resolve that. Oh, wait, I'll probably make you sadder. You've been watching.
Anyway, speaking of the part of the podcast where I go first, speaking of that, yeah, whatever, fuck it.
We'll do it live.
If you want to find me on the YouTubes, you can do so by searching for Gaming Psychologist. You can find the YouTube version of the podcast. If for some reason you need to do that there, you can find our Spin Tires videos, as well as whenever I occasionally get a wild hair to do something else and put it up there. That is Gaming Psychologist on the YouTubes. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where I'm much more active on pretty much a daily basis, you can do so by following me at JMA4707. If you want to be my friend on Steam, you can do so by sending a friend request to jarthur4707. I accept all friend requests and enjoy talking to people on there greatly.
And if you wish to let them know exactly what episode of the podcast you're coming from, the password for this week is, "You dense motherfucker." You dense motherfucker. I'm sorry, I couldn't pass it up this week because damn right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that could apply to several of our stories, right?
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, for my stuff, you can find me on the Ube of Tubes, Gaming with Caffeine Rage, where I'm still running two of my three planned series. I still need to get off my ass and do the third one, but I'll get it eventually, right? You're rubbing off on me. I'm procrastinating too much.
There you go.
I'm making you grumpy, and you're making me lazy. But yeah, I do have RimWorld and Spintire's Blood Runner still going, so yeah, I still have the content. Sunday Sampler is still stalled out because Keymailer is being a bunch of dipshits. They're essentially about 4 or 5 months behind on accrediting accounts, so I'm not holding my breath till to get reaccredited till after New Year's. So yeah, that's a thing, all right?
Yep.
And since I'm not getting fresh keys, I could do the backlog of the Sunday Sampler, but since they're all very small indie titles, it's kind of misses the point. I missed the chance to do them for the most part. So yeah, I'll do them occasionally, but yeah. But if you wish to catch, the replacement for the Sunday Sampler is me streaming occasionally. You can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/caffeine_rage. I don't have a set schedule yet. It seems like every time I plan on doing just Sundays, someone has to have a catch-up day and do a Sunday recording. Right?
Indeed. It's one of us.
But yeah, I don't have a set schedule, but if you was to know a couple hours beforehand, you can also go over to Gaming with CR on the Twitter, and I will tweet out, an hour or two before I'm planning on streaming, and also when I'm actually streaming, if you wish to follow me on the Twitch. And that is all my stuff, and also all our links are on the podcast page, which is vglpodcast.podbean.com, which hosts the RSS feed, or you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and our Podbean is graciously supported by our patrons. You can find out more at patreon.com/VGLpodcast. And once again, if you wish to contact us, vglpodcast@gmail.com or VGL Podcast on the Twitters. You can send us voicemails, regular text letters, game-related topics, questions, poking fun at Bethesda. That's a big plus, by the way, this week. Right?
Or something about those Pokemans.
Or just memes in general. Because boy, Discord went memey for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
And links to our Discord is also on the Podbean site as well, if you wish to join the absolute insanity in there. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and our Discovery Cube music, Doobly Doo, is by the same artist. You can find his work at incompetech.com, and
as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Well, bye now.
See you next time with all them Pokemans.
Bye-bye.
Pokemon.